All right, we're starting a unit today called piecewise functions, but before we get into that, we're going to strictly look at what's called a linear piecewise function. So we need to kind of review how to graph a line and how to write an equation from a graph, or write a function from a graph. So we're going to be writing in slope-intercept form. Recall this is the form right here, y equals mx plus b. And where m is your slope, rise over run, so we can also add a note here just so we can remember that is how much we are rising over how much we are running. And b is considered your y-intercept. So write the equation of a line given the slope and y-intercept. So if I'm giving you the slope and we're trying to write it in this form right here, y equals mx plus b. Well, in this case, our slope is our m, and our y-intercept is our b value. So we would have y equals negative 2x plus 5. And that would be an equation that would satisfy these conditions. Next one, same thing. We would have our slope is our m, so we would have y equals 3/4 x, and then minus 3 is our y-intercept. All right, now let's look at a line, see if we can identify this. First and foremost, let's look at what our graph looks like to identify if our slope is positive or negative. First of all, if our graph is going from uphill, or as x gets bigger, y is getting bigger, or if it's going up from left to right, that means our slope is going to be positive. So I'm going to make a little note here. Our slope is going to be positive. Here, our slope is going to be negative because we're going downhill like this from left to right. So here, we're going to identify the slope. We can just pick one point on the graph. It doesn't matter where we're going to go, but we need to figure out how much we rise and run to get to the next point on the graph. So if I start, I'm just going to start from this y-intercept. If I go up 1 and over 1, I do not hit that graph, so I'm going to have to go up 2. And then if I go over 1 or 2, I don't hit that graph. So let's see, if I go up 3 and over 2 or 3, I don't hit that graph. So I'm going to have to go up 4 and over 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to be going up 4, I'm going to be rising 4, and running 3. So my slope is 4/3. And my y-intercept, where I cross the y-axis, is going to be at negative 5. X will always be 0. We're looking for the y value there. And then our equation for this graph in slope-intercept form would be y equals negative 5x. Oops, not negative 5x. Sorry. 4/3 x minus 5. So we put our slope and our y-intercept. This example, same idea. I'm going to figure out how far it takes me to go from one point to another. So if I fall 1 and run 2, I don't hit that. I'm kind of in there. I'm just going to go to that point that's listed for me. So if I go down 1, 2, how much do I have to run to get there? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so my slope here is, and remember we said it's negative, so we're falling 2 to get to that 1. So I'm going to fall 2, and I'm going to run 4, which I would just need to simplify that and say that that's negative 1/2. So my slope is negative 1/2, and then my y-intercept is at 0, 1. So I can say that's y equals negative 1/2 x plus 1, and this would be the equation for that line. All right. Write the linear equation for the graph shown. I always like to start at the y-intercept and at least determine what that value is. So that's going to be my b value. My y-intercept is going to be at 0, 2. And then my graph is positive, so from there I'm going to figure out, well, this one's probably not a good example. I probably don't want to start from the y-intercept because if I look at all of these, None of those hit. So we're going to have to go somewhere else. We can also, well, we can start here at this point. How much do we have to rise and run to get, how much do we have to go up and over to get to this point? That'd be up 1, 2, 3, 4. So up 4 over 1, 2, 3. So 4/3. So our slope is 4/3. So therefore our equation should be y equals 4/3 x. Write this a little bit different. 4/3 x plus 2. Oops. All right, here our slope is going to be negative. So I might as well write y equals negative something because this is going downhill. And now let's pick any point we can see. I'm going to pick this point right here. That looks to be on the line. And I'm just going to count how far I would have to go. So if I go down 1, 2, 3, and over 2, it looks like I landed that line. 1, 2, 3, over 2. Yep. So my slope should be negative 3 because I'm going down 3 over 2. And then my y-intercept is right here, so that would be at 0, negative 3, so that would be negative 3. I mean, I would just fill this in. 3/2 x minus 3. All right, now let's graph some. So to graph the equation in slope-intercept form, which is what we've been looking at so far, that's this y equals mx plus b. All right, so I would always start with the y-intercept when I'm graphing this. Right there, 0, 1, if I can. And I'm just going to rise over run. So my slope here is going to be 2 over 1. So I'm going to rise 2, run 1. And I get something like that. I'm going to go ahead and get a couple more points on here as well. You could also go the other direction, fall 2 and run 1 to the left. And get something like that. It's not a very good, but yeah. Let's go ahead and put arrows on the end of that. All right, let's try this one. So my y-intercept is at negative 2. We're going to go on the y-axis. And then I'm going to go down 2, run 3. So from here, I'm going to go 1, 2, and run 3. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. I get this point right here. Remember, it only takes 2 points to make a line. So we really only need 2 points to do that. All right, last one. If our equation's not set up in slope-intercept form, we need to get it that way first. So I'm going to start by isolating y, which would mean I would need to add 8 to both sides. So over here, I'm going to end up with 4y equals 2x plus 8. Then I'm going to divide both sides by 4. And then that will give you y equals 1/2 x plus 2. And now y is by itself, so I can plot my y-intercept. I'm going to go up 2. So that's, or not up 2, that's my y-intercept at 0, 2. And then from here I'm going to rise 1, run 2, and I get another point on my graph, which should give me something like this. All right, and that's just a quick linear review.